So let us talk about tumors of spine. The spinal tumors is classified by World Health Organization. This World Health Organization is a histological classification. It also provides a grading system. Based on location on imaging, we can classify the spinal tumors into extradural tumors. The extradural tumors, they are the majority of spinal tumors, that is 60% of all spinal tumors are extradural, and majority of extradural tumors originate from the vertebra, and metastasis is most frequent extradural tumor. Primary bone tumors are less frequently observed. After extradural, let us come to intradural tumor. Intradural tumors is further classified into extramedullary, intradural, or intramedullary intradural. Extramedullary intradural tumors consist of 30% of all spinal tumors, most frequently meningiomas, nerve sheath tumors, drop metastasis. Among the intramedullary intradural tumors, they occur in 10% of all spinal tumors. The main intermedullary tumors are astrocytoma and ependymoma. Intermedullary tumors, majority of intermedullary tumors are glial tumors, about 90% ependymoma or astrocytoma. The frequency of intermedullary tumors. In adults, most common intermedullary tumors are ependymoma that occurs 40 to 60% cases, and then astrocytoma, and then hemangioblastoma. In pediatric age group, the most common intermedullary is astrocytoma. 60 to 90% of intermedullary spinal tumors are astrocytoma in case of pediatric age group, and then ganglioglioma, and then hemangioblastoma. It is rarely seen. Ependymoma is uncommon outside the setting of neurofibromatosis. The location of intramedullary tumors are, if it is astrocytoma, then most commonly it occurs in thoracic spine. If it is ependymoma, then it occurs most commonly in cervical spine. Myxopapillary ependymoma is typically seen in the conus medullaris, finum terminale, and chorda equina. Why differentiation between ependymoma and astrocytoma is needed? We know that ependymoma can be rejected easily, but astrocytoma is not. So it is important to differentiate whether it is ependymoma or it is astrocytoma. Ependymoma arises from the ependymal cells lining the central ependymal canal. It is frequently located centrally, and for this central location, the early presentation is sensory symptoms, and the late presentations are the motor symptoms. As the sensory symptoms presents earlier, so as the motor symptoms presents lately, so the diagnosis is delayed. Majority of neurofibromatosis 2 related to spinal tumors. Majority of neurofibromatosis 2 related tumors are asymptomatic. The location of the ependymoma mostly cervical and then upper cervical cord. The grade of ependymoma is mostly low grade. So, benign indolent course, and the tumors are well demarcated and compress the adjacent cord rather than infiltrating it. Malignant histological class subtype, that is anaplastic or grade 3, is rare. The histology of ependymoma has some subtypes such as cellular type, papillary type, clear cell type, and tenicytic type. Cellular type is most common. The prognosis of ependymoma depends on tumor grade, degree of resection, presence or absence of CSF disseminations. In neurofibromatosis 2, intervention seldom requires. Ependymoma appears on CT as canal widening, scoliosis, vertebral body scalloping. On MR, typically as central well circumscribed lesions, that is iso to hypo on T1 and iso to hyper on T2. That is a common finding for a pathological lesion. The enhancement pattern of ependymoma is vivid and it enhances homogeneously in 91% cases due to the compressive nature of ependymoma. Cleavage plane may occasionally be seen on imaging. DTI or uh, tensor imaging, diffuse tensor imaging, show how the tumor displays the fiber tracts. Also be observed in spinal cord astrocytoma. Ependymoma usually, the size of ependymoma usually three vertebral segment. Capsaicin present in 20 to 25% cases, and this capsaicin correspond to low signal intensity areas seen on T2 and even better on T2 star GRE, capping at both sides. These caps are hemosiderin deposits due to chronic hemorrhage, and this capsaicin has a high sensitivity. That means if it is positive, then if it is positive, then it is more likely that it is ependymoma. Cyst is associated. The associated satellite cysts are seen in 60% of the cases, and they may be very large. And this satellite cyst is delineation of this satellite cyst is easier after gadolinium enhancement. Serings is also a characteristics finding, especially with cervical ependymoma. Spinal cord edema on either side of the tumor is variable but often seen in the large multisegmental tumors. Myxopapillary ependymoma, it is a grade 1 tumor, so it is slow growing and therefore it become very large before the diagnosis, so may be associated with scalloping of the vertebral body, scoliosis, and enlargement of the neural foramina. These myxopapillary ependymoma arise from ependymal cells of the phylum terminally. Typical presentation of myxopapillary ependymoma is they present in children and young adults and as chronic low back pain exacerbating during night. Hemorrhage may occur in myxopapillary ependymoma, and this explains the sudden worsening of clinical symptoms such as leg weakness and sphincter disturbance. And this hemorrhage may also lead to subarachnoid bleeding and superficial siderosis. Myxopapillary ependymoma on MRI, they appear ISO on T1 but hyperintense on both T1 and T2, and it is due to the mucin content. Myxopapillary ependymoma enhances strongly and is somewhat inhomogeneous. Hemorrhage and cyst formation are common features that contribute to signal inhomogeneity. Differential diagnosis of myxopapillary ependymoma is mainly nerve sheath tumors such as schwannomas. Myxopapillary ependymoma may be disseminated spontaneously or postoperatively along the craniospinal axis, as well as uh, dissemination can also occur due to extradural manipulation of the tumor or during spinal trauma. So post-operative radiotherapy is useful. Astrocytoma is two types. If it is pilocytic astrocytoma, then it is grade 1. If it is fibrillary astrocytoma, then grade 2. In pediatric age group, 75% of pediatric intermedullary tumors are pilocytic astrocytoma. 7% of pediatric intermedullary tumors are due to fibrillary astrocytoma. Pilocytic astrocytoma occurs in 1 to 5 years typically, and fibrillary astrocytoma occurs around 10 years. In adults, the astrocytoma occurs. It is the less common cause after ependymoma, and 75% of astrocytoma in adults are fibrillary astrocytoma, and then pilocytic astrocytoma. The site of astrocytoma, 70% are thoracic, then cervical, frequently involve a large portion of the spinal cord. Hollow cord presentation common in children, but true hollow cord tumor is rare. In most cases, extensive spinal cord edema occurs. The astrocytoma appears regardless its WHO grade, it appears as infiltrative appearance. It has a infiltrative appearance. Also, it is associated with poorly characterized boundaries. So, only biopsy is done in case of astrocytoma. Uh, Here, in astrocytoma, necrotic cystic generation occurs in 60% of cases, and also they may have cyst with mural nodule. Solid portion is seen in 40% cases. This portion appears on T1 as iso2 hypo and on T2 hyperintense. The enhancement pattern of astrocytoma is variable and does not define tumor margin. Most of the fibrillary astrocytomas do not enhance. Pilocytic astrocytoma enhance intensely. High-grade astrocytomas and glioblastomas tend to be more heterogeneous with necrotic cystic areas and often enhance patchily. Intratumoral hemorrhage, best seen on T2-star GRE, associated syringomyelia may occur in case of astrocytoma. Hemangioblastoma, it happens 2 to 10% of cases of all spinal tumors. The peak incidence is in the fourth decade. The number of hemangioblastoma solitary in 80% cases, multiple in 20% cases when associated with von Hippel-Lindau syndrome. Von Hippel-Lindau syndrome, an autosomal dominant disease with multiple cerebellar and or spinal hemangioblastoma, retinal angiomatosis, renal cell carcinoma, and or pheochromocytoma in varying degrees. Location of hemangioblastoma is at cervical or thoracic level, pure intermedullary in 75 to 80% cases, sometimes interdural extramedullary with a variable exophytic component. Intradural extramedullary with a variable exophytic component. Typical presentation of hemangioblastoma is there is of two types. First one is a small nodular lesion located in the subpial region and surrounded by extensive intermedullary edema, or a small nodule associated with huge and extensive intramedullary cystic component. The mechanism of peritoneal cyst formation appears to be the result of an interstitial process. That means the increased permeability and subsequent cyst formation. Hemangioblastoma, the solid tumor nodule of hemangioblastoma appears on T1 as isotohypo and on T2 as isotohyper. Gadolinium enhancement of hemangioblastoma is intense and homogeneous, um, especially useful. This gadolinium enhancement is especially useful to pick up small multiple nodules when associated with large cystic components. The rich vascular network, as well as enlarged feeding arteries and dilated draining veins, may best seen on proton density and T2 weighted images. Digital subtraction angiography is still DSA is still performed to identify the feeding arteries and even preoperative embolization. Cysts in hemangioblastoma, they are CSF-like in intensity and they may contain protein. Gangliogliomas is a combined form of neoplastic ganglion cell plus glial elements. Ganglioglioma, they are liable for 1 to 2% of all spinal tumors and 15% of all spinal tumors in case of pediatric age group. And among the pediatrics age group, mostly ganglioglioma occurs in 1 to 5 years of age. The grade of ganglioglioma typically low grade and but they have significant propensity for local recurrence and the glial elements progress to high grade. So choice is surgical resection. The location of ganglioglioma preferentially cervical and upper thoracic and may extend to the medulla oblongata through the foramen magnum. And the ganglioglioma is eccentric. The ganglioglioma extend more than 8 vertebral segments. Holocord involvement is more frequent than in any other spinal cord tumors. If I do imaging, we find scoliosis and remodeling calcification. The calcification probably the single most suggestive feature of ganglioglioma, and some propose some characteristic features of ganglioglioma such as they are long tumor length, tumoral cyst is present, absence of edema, they are mixed T1, and this mixed T1 is unique for ganglioglioma as it is due to dual cellular population of ganglioglioma. The ganglioglioma enhance patchy cord surface enhancement may present. The perifocal edema can vary from limited or absent to extensive. Contrast enhancement can be focal or patchy, may be whole. It is rarely seen the contrast enhanced wholly. Whole contrast is rarely seen. Contrast enhancement is described absent in minority of cases. There are some less frequent intermedullary tumors such as intermedullary metastasis, lymphoma, epidermoid cyst, lipoma, oligodendroglioma, intermedullary schwannoma, and teratoma. Metastasis, most common primary metastasis is lung and breast. There are no specific characteristics on MRI. Usually, metastases are small, nodular, well defined, surrounded by mild to extensive edema, and enhancement of the metastasis may be either ring like or homogeneous and intensive. It is described that there are some pattern that is specific for non-CNS origin metastasis. Two peripheral enhancement is described for non-CNS origin. One is rim sign, another one is flame sign. Rim sign, it is a when a more intense thin rim of peripheral enhancement around an enhancing lesion a more intense thin rim of peripheral enhancement around an enhancing lesion is seen, then it is called rim sign. Flame sign: when an ill-defined flame-shaped region of enhancement at the superior or inferior margin is seen, then it is called flame sign. Spinal cord tumor mimics are cavernomas. They are not tumor, but they are mimickers. Also, tumor-effective demyelinating lesions in multiple sclerosis, neuromyelitis optica, acute disseminating encephalomyelitis, acute transverse myelitis, spinal cord contusion, spinal cord infarction, also sarcoidosis and vasculitis. Cavernous malformation, also known as cavernomas, cavernous angiomas, they may present acutely and as rapid progressive condition, rapid progressive neurological deficit due to bleeding. 7 to 10% of all intermedullary tumors are cavernous malformation. Most commonly, they are found in thoracic spinal cord. On MRI, cavernous malformation on T1, T2, or T2 star weighted images. Cavernous malformation or cavernomas are typically black and white or popcorn in appearance. These cavernomas tend to be multiple, and they also have an association with familial cavernomatosis. So MRI of brain is recommended for cavernomas.